Hello and welcome to the first of the recorded assemblies for the new half term. I hope everyone's enjoyed a glorious half term break and are now ready and raring to go on the 7-week run through to summer. Fingers crossed we will actually see some of you in person at some stage over the next 7 weeks as well. So the focus for today is one Red Paperclip. Now Year 7s, you will have seen in my weekly email that I asked you all, suggested you try and find one as a challenge. Now today is where we find out the reason behind that. It's not just me going out on some weird whim. For the rest of you, if you want to join along, please do. If not, run with the story. Now for anyone who's a little more interested and in that cringy YouTube way, anybody interested, the link is in the bio below, so take a gander. Now, the leader of our story for today, and it is a real life story, it's not just something I've made up, is Kyle McDonald. Fairly regular guy, and he decided in 2005 to put a picture of a red paperclip on his internet blog. The idea was to start a bit of a social experiment and challenge himself, really. Take something that has virtually no intrinsic value, something that neither you nor I are likely to worry about if we lose, break, throw away, just get a couple more, and see exactly what it was worth to people. How far could this one little paperclip get him? Now, I'm not going to go through everything involved. Anybody who's particularly interested, as stated in the previous, there is a link in the bio. He has got a book. By all means, get it, read it. Everything's on the website anyway. So he set himself the task of swapping the paperclip for something else to see exactly in relative terms what it was worth to people. Now, the first item that he managed to swap it for was a wooden fish pen. Again, relatively minor, but someone who wanted to get in on the spirit of things. So we've gone from our red paperclip to a fish pen. And again, a couple of days passed and he managed to swap this for, granted, a slightly creepy looking doorknob, but a doorknob. This was in turn swapped for a camping stove. So we've already gone from a paperclip to a gas-fired camping stove. Fairly big shift in value. Next step along was a petrol generator. So in 5 trades spanning about a month, he has gone from his paperclip, so this fairly insignificant item, to a petrol generator, something that to people, some people, could be life-changing. This is where he hit a bit of a snag, and this is where in our tale we need to explore the idea of resilience. So everything else so far has happened within a couple of days to a couple of weeks at most. The petrol generator took me 2 months. I'm not sure why it wasn't explored in the detail that's put out on the website, but the idea here is that if you are running through with a challenge, if you have set yourself a goal, if you're working towards some grand end point, there are going to be setbacks, there are going to be things that don't quite work the way you expect, there are going to be aspects that take longer than you expect. And in this instance, it took twice as long as everything beforehand. It required some maintenance. But eventually it was swapped, and he managed to swap it with a recently ex-student. I'm talking American student, not personal TPS student, for what was deemed a party to go. So it was a light up Budweiser sign, an empty beer barrel, and a note promising to fill that barrel at some point. The party to go was, through a few more trades, swapped for a Skidoo, a snowmobile. Now remember, we still started off with the single paperclip. We're now up to a fairly enviable item. This was then traded a few more times, and again, not wanting to spoil the outcome for anyone who's interested, but this idea of relative value comes back again. So far, it's reasonably easy to see that everything is getting gradually bigger, gradually more grand in the way we're doing it. And then we end up with a Kiss snow globe. So some of you may be aware of the band Kiss, some of you may not. Have a look, well worth listening to. And Posting on his blog, this was viewed as a major setback. You've gone from having a snowmobile, various other items that are fairly substantial, to a snow globe. But again, relative value to someone. This snow globe was worth a lot, and he ended up trading this with a person called Corbin Bernsen, who was a film director, and the snow globe was traded for a paid speaking role in an upcoming film. Not something I would see equivalent value to a snow globe, but to Corbin, this snow globe was worth what he traded. It had relative value. And again, there were continued trades after this up to a very sizable endpoint, something that you would never expect to shift to the side to come from a paperclip. And all of this was achieved within a year. So, for those who are up for a bit of a challenge, you've got a paperclip. Try it. See what you can actually trade up for a paperclip. Now, it doesn't have to be physical things, and if doing a good deed for someone is worth putting in, then go for it. Now, obviously, there are a couple of takeaway messages from this. So, finishing up, the idea of challenge being healthy. Just because something's tricky doesn't mean it's not worth trying. It doesn't have to have some absolute reason for doing it other than trying it. There was no real reason for posting a picture of a paperclip on a website, just to see where you could go with it. So challenge yourself, step outside of your comfort zone, try things that don't inherently sound as though you can achieve them easily. Push yourselves. Applying yourself. So if you want to be an athletic star, if you want to become a world famous musician, if you want to be an architect that builds the next skyscraper in London, or the next sculptor to have a statue or piece of work put on display in a public environment, do it. If you really, really want it, if you really push yourself, there is no reason that you can't achieve it. It may take some work. Again, we're going back to that idea of challenge. You will have to push. There will be setbacks along the way, but don't give up. Resilience is one of the biggest skills you hopefully take away from your time at TPS. The ability to pick yourself up, brush yourself off, and keep going. And lastly, and possibly the most important one day to day, is this idea of relative value. Just because to you something has little or no intrinsic value, it doesn't mean it doesn't to someone else. That paperclip, yeah, means very, very little to the vast majority of people, but to someone else it meant a little bit more. And the pen meant a little bit more to someone else, and it kept going. And the snow globe, I wouldn't want one. It would have almost zero value to me. However, to Corbin Bernsen, it had a huge value. And again, it doesn't have to be material items. This statement, this idea of relative value, comes down to your actions, your attitude. Be nice to someone. Saying thank you doesn't take any effort, but it could mean the world to someone else. Somebody drops a book, pick it up. Open a door for someone. Do the washing up for your folks. Anything that to someone else can be perceived or can have a much, much greater value than it does to you. Your actions, in this case, are what make you. So, thank you for watching. Stay safe, and I hope to see you all again soon. Take care.